I am 22 years old and I am looking for ideas. Story 1. I'm almost 25 and realized I'm not going anywhere without a degree. I've been working in construction and recently went back to school at night. I don't know what skills you have, but don't rule out education. Personally, I dislike school, but I don't want to be working hard in the hot Florida sun when I'm over 40. Story 2. Mailman. Overtime, penalty overtime, and holiday bonuses have allowed me to join the six-figure club, earning more than most of my peers who attended college. Story 3. I have an associate degree that I don't use except for bartending. If I had gotten into bartending before going to college, I would have never pursued the degree. It's fairly simple to get into. You might have to wait tables for a while before they promote you, depending on the restaurant. Alternatively, you might be able to just walk into a dive bar and ask if they are hiring. In the right location, it offers similar pay to many trade schools without requiring outside labor. Story 4. I suggest you consider trades if you feel you are skilled with your hands and reasonably intelligent. If that doesn't sound appealing, think about the type of work you would enjoy and try to gain entry-level experience or pursue internships. Story 5. Barber. If you are skilled, there is good money in freelancing and working with celebrities. You can also earn well by developing a specialty skill. The hours are flexible. Story 6. I worked as a plumber for 44 years, from the age of 18 to 62. I am now retired with a great pension. Currently, I am mastering the fine art of relaxation. Life is good. Story 7. I have a degree, but it is not needed for my job. I work in utilities, focusing on water and sewer services. I am finishing up a 2-year apprenticeship. Story 8. Uppity butterworm summer direction caption selective sip rock agonizing. Story 9. I attended college for 5 years, mainly focused on having fun, surfing daily, and socializing. During this time, I accumulated a significant number of credits, but I did not earn an actual degree. I earn approximately $120,000 a year before bonuses. I work in designing customer experiences for large companies, essentially scaling operations. I received my big break at a startup that saw tremendous growth, increasing sales from $10,000 to $500,000 in a year. I entered this field about 10 years ago, starting as a Tier 1 representative in a call center for Apple. I dedicated myself to being the best in every aspect of customer experience and user experience. Although it took time to reach this salary, I believe that if I can achieve this, anyone can. I am not someone extraordinary. In many ways, I am quite unremarkable. My best advice is to excel at whatever you are doing, and the financial rewards will follow. Story 10. As a 40-year-old man with no degree, I need to get a ticket or a degree now. It's more complicated when you're my age with 3 kids. Story 11. Read, write, and communicate with people from home. Play video games. Exercise at the gym. Engage with my wife. Pet and play with my cats. Story 12. I do not have a degree, but I have certifications in information technology. They cost me about $800 2 years ago, and I make decent money enough to support a household of 4. Story 13. Information Security Risk Assessment. I began my IT career 30 years ago when Generation X was the first generation raised with technology and had a natural aptitude for it, compared to the baby boomers who hired us. I collected several professional certifications along the way but do not hold a college degree. A computer information systems degree from 30 years ago would not be highly relevant today. Story 14. Studying professional training in microcomputer systems and networks. I am unsure about the annual salary of a technician working in this field in the USA, but in my country, it ranges from $19,469.98 to $24,878.31. Story 15. Military. I earn a 6-figure income doing mostly fulfilling work without a degree. I am a senior enlisted member. This income allows me to own 2 paid-off cars, have no debt except for my mortgage, and support my wife, who has a low-paying, enjoyable career. I have a small number of children. The pay is reasonable if you manage your finances wisely. It is one of the last American dream careers where a high school-educated individual can acquire a skill and receive decent pay, healthcare, and a pension. It may not be for everyone, but do not dismiss it outright. Story 16. Forklift and warehouse work. Knowledge of operating various types of industrial vehicles is required. No college or high school diploma is needed. Story 17. Facilities manager for an international law firm. I started 25 years ago in the copy room making copies. When my supervisors would leave, I would apply for their positions and continued doing that. I reached a six-figure salary a few years ago. Story 18. I am an administrative assistant and I enjoy my career progression. I am compensated well, which I did not imagine was possible compared to where I was 3 years ago. I have great supervisors and wonderful colleagues. Story 19. I retired from heating, ventilation, and air conditioning at 55. I was earning a salary equivalent to a superintendent, which was about $175,000 at the time. I maximized my pension deductions while I was employed. I have a good retirement, but as previously mentioned, it is hard on the body. Story 20. I started college but dropped out because it was boring, with too much theoretical knowledge and little practical application. So I enrolled in a trade school for full-stack web development. Now, I am the head of technology at a marketing and search engine optimization agency. Search engine optimization is a field where you do not need any formal education or training to succeed. While anyone can enter this field, it is also a space where if you end up in the unfulfilling side of link brokering and outreach, you may never learn anything meaningful. You could become stuck, perpetuating the same misconceptions that your superiors used to persuade you to deceive unsuspecting clients. However, if you find a role where you develop strategies for clients, work on the technical aspects, write content, or plan roadmaps that allow for creativity, there will be a significant difference in skill development and career potential between the two paths. Story 21. Just after I graduated high school, I worked in road construction for one summer, which was the worst experience. When I was 21, I worked in a warehouse for an adult film production company. I have worked as a line cook on and off for a while. I performed building maintenance for about 10 years. These days, I am in sales at an information technology company. I have done a lot of different jobs. Story 22. I am 24 years old and work as a field engineer for a medical devices company. The pay is good, but I travel frequently and I can see it affecting my body in the future. I plan to take the fundamentals of engineering exam and eventually the professional engineer exam to enhance my resume and transition to a desk job. Story 23. I'm 2.5 years into making $100,000 and you can get your commercial driver's license too. Work for a year, save 80% of your pay since you won't need to pay rent, and then come back to do something else. Story 24. I was in wind energy for a decade. I went to school for it, but unfortunately, most of my coworkers did not. Now I work in solar energy, but both fields are similar. Story 25. I was in high-risk commercial insurance before this. Don't think that you still don't have the chance to get jobs that require 4-year degrees. You just have to be a bit more self-sufficient. Story 26. I was a tattoo artist making at least $50,000 a year, but now my whole trade has been affected by thousands of cheap competitors, and my income has dropped below $20,000. After 12 years, I quit and now make $40,000 working in a tailor shop. Story 27. I took an adult education class for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. I do not consider it college. After 8 years, I earn $27.50 an hour. I am in Eastern Pennsylvania, as wages may vary by state. Story 28. You will have to pay your dues somewhere and work your way up. Get a commercial driver's license. Yes, at some point some of the over-the-road jobs may diminish if self-driving cars become a reality, but that is not happening for a while. I am the chief financial officer for a ready-mix company, and we are always looking for drivers. The pay is good, and the benefits are outstanding if you are part of a union. You are always home at night. Federal regulations mandate that you get 10 hours between shifts. The hours can be long in the summer and minimal in the winter, but if you can tolerate that, you can easily make a career out of it. Many of our senior drivers make over $100,000 a year doing this. It is physical work, but not excessively so. Any job in logistics can be rewarding, but you need to pay your dues if you work for delivery companies or warehousing firms. I know many individuals who retired from delivery companies at a young age, in their 50s. Consider getting a skilled trade such as plumbing or electrician work. Save and work toward owning your own company so that you are not pulling wires, hauling old water heaters upstairs, and doing physical labor when you are over 50. Houses and offices will always need repairs or replacements, so you can expect a really good long-term employment outlook. These jobs can also come with union benefits, which is a significant advantage. My stepbrother is a lineman and repairman with the local power utility. He makes good money, but the hours can fluctuate. I also have friends who are well-paid directors in information technology security. They reached their positions by obtaining professional certifications for a few $100s with some classroom time and continuing their education. Sales can be a viable career path for many people, too. Professional selling isn't just about charisma and charm. It is a real skill and something that can provide a good living if you know what you are doing. Story 29. Apprenticeships for skilled labor such as electrical work, plumbing, HVAC, and welding are available. There is a nationwide shortage of tradespeople, and it is not very difficult to find on-the-job training for these careers. Many of these jobs can lead to earnings of over $60,000 once you become self-sufficient. Additionally, pursuing advanced certifications can significantly increase your earning potential. During my time in property management, we paid our plumber $240,000 in the last year I was there and our electrician $360,000. Story 30. I am 32 years old and work as a machine operator for a specialty carton sealer at one of the larger appliance manufacturers in my city. I am employed in a union shop, and it took me 3 years to advance from a general production labor to my current position. Working in a union can be very rewarding if you put in the time. Additionally, I serve as a union steward and have been on my production line for a total of 7 years, effectively managing a team of about 160 people and earning a salary comparable to my direct supervisor. While this isn't what I initially envisioned for myself after leaving school, the experience has proven to be very worthwhile. It is essential to stay alert for new opportunities, as the production and manufacturing sector offers many great jobs. When I'm not resolving interpersonal conflicts or addressing challenging situations, I spend most of my day monitoring a machine. Story 31. I am a laborer on a construction site, planning to attend culinary school soon to become a professional chef. I am already a good cook as well. Story 32. I have 2 associates. I stopped pursuing my bachelor's degree because college is very expensive. I work as a diesel mechanic for the city and earn a decent income. Story 33. I worked hard for 17 years as a service engineer, and now I'm in sales and advancing quickly. I earn a salary of $150,000 with an additional commission of about $35,000 to $50,000. I work about 28 hours a week remotely and take people out to eat. Story 34. I have recently started my own lawn care company. It is small right now, but I am beginning to get more jobs. Story 35. I am a special inspector for a civil engineering firm, earning a good income by examining soil throughout the day. Story 36. I got a job with an optometrist because the receptionist was attractive. No one could fix the equipment while I worked there, so I took the initiative to try. Now, that's my role for a major chain. Story 37. Welder, fabricator, machinist, electrician, electronic technician, CAD designer, pipe fitter, and PLC programmer. There is no 4-year degree that could teach me all that. Story 38. Hospital jobs are available year-round. Hospitals have ongoing needs for various positions. Some roles require degrees while others do not. Additionally, some hospitals may even assist with your education costs if you choose to further your studies. Story 39. I am in human resources. I joined the Army at 18, initially as an aircraft maintenance technician, and then moved into human resources after 6 years. I left at 36. I now specialize in employment relations in the healthcare sector. I also have human resources master's graduates working under me in the team. A degree is completely unnecessary for my role. What is more valuable is practical experience and management skills. A degree may provide a head start, but it does not guarantee the ability to manage complex cases. My education includes an apprenticeship and a foundation degree, but I was trained on the job rather than pursuing a bachelor's degree. Story 40. Emergency medical services. Long hours, low pay. It's fulfilling, though, in some ways. I enjoy the work. Story 41. Yard truck driver with commercial driver's license Class A. I primarily move 53-foot trailers around a warehouse and occasionally take some off-site. Currently, the pay is $21.50 an hour, with an additional $2 on weekends. I work 40 hours every week. I am currently 23 years old, turning 24 in August. Story 42. I sell equipment for barbershops, primarily clippers, trimmers, and shavers. It is a profitable business in my country, and I am 23 years old. Story 43. I became a semi-trailer mechanic straight out of high school. I am now in trade school to become a diesel mechanic. I am 20. Story 44. I ran my own online resale business right after high school from 2019 to 2022 until it slowed down significantly. Then I got my first job, which was a seasonal work-from-home position in the summer of 2023. Now that it has ended, I am driving for Uber Eats and trying to pursue computer-related certifications, although it is challenging. I was never the best at academics, but I am aiming for a certification to potentially help me advance in my career. Story 45. I am the Chief Technology Officer of the software company I founded 36 years ago. I took a 6-week Fortran class while code-breaking at the National Security Agency when I was in the Army, then transitioned to a programming job with a large Washington, D.C. firm. I spent 10 years there, working on various cutting-edge projects, and then started my own company. I am 71 years old and still coding. Story 46. I work as a cook at Hardee's. It's not the best, but it pays the bills and puts food on the table, sometimes for free, and that's all that matters. Story 47. I manage an information technology department. It is sufficient for me to support a family of 4 with a mortgage and car payment, which is what I aim to secure. Anything beyond this is a bonus. Story 48. I spent 6 years in the military where I learned mechanical skills. Since then, I have worked as a fleet technician for a trucking company, and now I am a service writer for a dealership. Story 49. 26 years old, union boilermaker and pressure welder, master rigger, International Rope Access Trade Association rope access technician, paid per call firefighter, and member of a high-angle rescue team. Story 50. I own a nuisance wildlife control business that is gradually shifting towards pest control, as the demand for tick and mosquito management has overtaken most of the wildlife work. Story 51. Senior Applications Analyst, age 34, earning $120,000 in Southern California. No degree. I worked hard, asked questions, and advanced in my career. Story 52. Power lineman offers impressive salaries and benefits. It is one of the coolest trades and is definitely among the most respected professions. Story 53. I am an electrician in the Navy, currently halfway through my bachelor's degree in electronics engineering. I paid my bills today and hope to continue managing my expenses with my degree. If that does not work out, I can rely on my experience and journeyman license. Story 54. I have an education equivalent to grade 11, and I am a self-employed excavation, sewer, and water contractor. I have been in the industry for 28 years and have operated my own business for 7 years. I primarily focus on service work, which many in my field tend to avoid. While the pay can be excellent, running my own business can be a challenge or a blessing, depending on the year. Over the past 7 seasons, I typically work about 8 months a year, averaging 4 months off in winter to spend time with my family. We live in a small house, which keeps our personal debt low, and we have a very small mortgage by today's standards. We aim to be debt-free in 5 years. Story 55. Join the military and learn a skill or trade. In about 4 years, you will gain experience in that trade and valuable supervisory experience. You will also belong to a protected class and be in demand because the government encourages companies to hire veterans. Additionally, you will become part of a brotherhood that generally supports one another in times of need. This is the way. Story 56. Supervisor for an industrial contractor that specializes in hazardous waste removal. I have been here for almost 10 years. Story 57. It's surprising how many men in our generation, the 1990s and afterward, are reluctant to pursue trade jobs. Simply being competent in a trade ensures job security. Story 58. Sales. You would be surprised at how much you can earn selling various construction products such as insulation or door hardware. There are also industrial products like pumps. You can start in the warehouse, learn about the products and their applications, and work your way up. Story 59. Director of IT. I earn over 6 figures. I am planning to pursue my MBA online through Western Governors University over the next few years. While my experience is valuable, I find that I am being hindered by this requirement. My goal is to become a vice president or start my own consulting business, so I hope the degree will support that. I have the funds to pay for it in full, so I will not incur any debt. Story 60. My husband is a lineman. He has been in the line trade for 12 years. He earns more money annually than I ever made in my previous career before becoming a stay-at-home mom, and I have a Master of Business Administration degree. Story 61. I have been working in a factory for almost 6 years and have been advancing in my career. They even paid for me to take a computer-aided design class to obtain a certificate. Factory life isn't as bad as it is often portrayed. I suppose it depends on the specific factory. Story 62. I work in merchant services as a salesman and make well over 6 figures. Sales is a great option for people without a degree, and it is one of the few positions where you have a chance to make life-changing money. If you venture into sales, I highly recommend finding a job that offers residual income. It is the only way to ensure that you earn more money each year. Story 63. Logger, heavy equipment operator, carpenter. I greatly enjoy chopping down trees with a chainsaw and have experience driving excavators, cranes, loaders, and bulldozers. I am often called on to drive equipment, which I love because some days I go logging and other days I spend all day in an air-conditioned, climate-controlled cab crushing and smashing materials. I usually work for 1 to 2 weeks at a time, doing 14 straight hours in the mountains or highlands. Afterward, I return to the camp shacks, typically unwind with friends, and repeat the cycle the next morning before going back down for 1 to 2 weeks on rotation. I easily earn over $5,000 to $6,000 each month starting out. I would say it is taxing on the body, but I'm an adrenaline junkie, so this work suits me. I also enjoy the solitude during the time I get it. It's just enough but not too little. Story 64. My brother has no college degree, yet he is a co-founder and chief technology officer of his company and is about to start his own venture. Story 65. I am a trader, mostly in cryptocurrency. It's great. I work my own hours and travel wherever I want, whenever I want. Story 66. I attended college multiple times but never obtained a degree. I switched schools twice and some credits did not transfer. I began working at a print shop, designing flyers for nightclubs in the early 2000s. I then started my own shop in 2009. Currently, I own several online printing companies along with a physical shop in the city. I have consistently invested in stocks and real estate. My journey reflects a transition from difficult experiences to a life I previously did not know was possible. Story 67. I am a retired utility worker and have operated various types of equipment, including tractors, brush hogs, batwings, backhoes, dump trucks, excavators, and maintainers. Story 68. Where do you live? In a city or a small town? These factors will dictate what you should do. I have a degree, but I don't use it for my current work. I work in film and earn an average of $12,000 per month, along with benefits from the union. Trades are an excellent option if you can manage working outside in less than ideal conditions and are willing to put in a good decade of hard work. After that, you can run your own crew and start your own business. Try to pursue a trade that has union representation or international recognition. I know electricians and plumbers can earn a significant income, Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning professionals are also in high demand. Story 69. Trades: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, home construction, framing, roofing, drywall, painting. Agencies: obtain a trade degree and work for local county, city, or state departments such as Department of Transportation, Police, Fire, Sanitation, and Public Transportation. Construction: secure an apprenticeship position with a union as an operator, ironworker, or laborer. This can be challenging. Technology: you can teach yourself coding skills. It may take time but is worth the investment. Business: consider starting your own business in landscaping, car detailing, roof washing, and similar fields. Real estate: acquire a real estate license to gain access to industry knowledge. Use this information to buy or rent properties, renovate, and sell. Story 70. I work in technology development and support. I have no student loans, and I became a homeowner by the age of 28. You just need to be willing to help people and work smart. Story 71. Although I was let go from my first and only job as a cart pusher at Meyer 3 months ago, where I worked for almost 8 years, I consider myself a polymath. I am passionate about learning languages, write short stories when an image or music resonates with me, dabble in photography, and have a deep interest in philosophy, even writing some of my own. I am currently thinking of applying to Amazon for decent pay until I find a job that truly suits me. Story 72. I own a couple of trade-related businesses, a car wash and a storage facility. I started 20 years ago as a painter. Story 73. I attended college for film but did not graduate. I worked on a few television shows and movies, but the market is saturated with people wanting to enter the industry, and most production companies did not offer health insurance to their crew in the past. Now, I am an automotive interior repair technician, having completed trade school. I have health insurance, a retirement plan, and earn enough to live comfortably, with hopes of starting my own business in the next few years. I still miss film and would eagerly accept the opportunity to work in that field again, but repairing is my primary job, and I cannot let it go as I have a family now. Story 74. Trades generally allow individuals to earn more money. I am not mechanically inclined, or I would have learned a trade. Story 75. I am an international quality assurance outsourcing resource manager. I graduated high school with a technicality. I started as a video game tester and have climbed my way up over the years, almost reaching 20 years in this field. The pay is good if you do it right. Story 76. I specialize in industrial automotive paint and am currently learning about paintless dent repair. Chances are that if you've seen an OG bucket truck in the western half of the United States within the past 5 years, I painted it from body to boom. I also paint Comcast Xfinity trucks and Encore trucks. Story 77. I am a 31-year-old male who just started in the union for painting. I discovered painting 5 years ago without any experience and learned enough during that time to bypass the apprentice program, which typically involves 3 years of schooling and on-the-job training. I am earning $32 per hour along with benefits, a 401k, and an annuity. This has been the most enjoyable experience of my life, and I wish I had found it sooner. Story 78. I work in technology, specifically in user acceptance testing. I receive updated software from our developers and attempt to identify issues in fun and creative ways. My goal is to use the software as the average user would, ensuring it is user-friendly until a new version is developed. Story 79. Learn to weld. Apprentice with a skilled mentor. Travel the world and earn $250,000 a year tax-free, as long as you are outside of the United States for 8 to 12 months. Story 80. My advice is, don't get too attached to academic degrees. They aren't worth much if you have no luck or if the world economy is struggling. Looking back at my life, I would trade the money I spent on college to build my own business any day. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you not to get a degree, as they can help you get hired in some instances. However, from my experience, a degree is by no means an assurance of a successful life or career. Story 81. I am a chef. The culinary industry offers great upward mobility, and even if you don't have a degree, You can eventually run your own kitchen if you gather enough experience. I noticed that you mentioned living in Miami. Consider starting with the resorts. They typically pay better than restaurants and are almost always looking for help. Story 82. Research and development working directly with engineers to develop electrical equipment that replaces obsolete circuit breakers or the development of new customer-specified switchgear. Story 83. Engineering computer-aided design. You can take classes at a local school or community college and earn a decent starting wage with plenty of opportunities for growth and stability. People will always need engineers, and engineers will always need individuals who can draft. Story 84. Commercial roofing third-year apprentice positions offer $37 an hour. It's tough work, and many workers struggle with substance abuse, but it can be a rewarding job. Story 85. I entered sales and regret not finishing my degree. As I got older, the qualification would have opened more doors and earned me greater respect from customers. Even joining the military would have been beneficial. Both paths require hard work, which is how people learn and grow. Story 86. I fix robots for a large company. The pay is quite good. I learned everything I needed to know on YouTube. Story 87. I am a wireless and utility real estate project manager, earning a mid-six-figure salary. Working at a certain company in my field has proven to be more valuable than any degree, and I will never need to actively seek a job again. Over the past few years, I have transitioned to different positions to increase my salary. Most of my peers hold degrees, but my resume allows me to gain entry wherever I choose. Story 88. Heavy equipment maintenance technician. I perform scheduled maintenance on dump trucks and side mower tractors. Story 89. Insurance restoration for fire, water, and storm damage has served me well since 1994. It is a recession-proof industry for the most part. Story 90. I secured an entry-level position at a technology startup and worked my way up to management over 5 years. I met many great people there, one of whom acquired a business and needed assistance with scaling. I am currently an operations director at a small business, earning a six-figure salary, with a team of 12 reporting to me. Although I struggled in college, I possess a strong work ethic and excellent interpersonal skills. With those two qualities, you will succeed. Story 91. I worked a series of odd jobs and tried my hand at illustration. I worked in a kindergarten, then landed a temporary position as an information technology help desk support specialist, which led me to a career as an IT consultant. I eventually left that role for a job in retail, but I later returned to IT, focusing on operations. Although I am in my 40s, I would like to pursue a career in software engineering. Story 92. I left college to start bartending, then transitioned to real estate, but the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted that. For the last 3 years, I worked as a recruiter and recently moved into an account manager position at a large recruiting and consulting company. I earned about $100,000 in recruiting, anticipate making $130,000 this year, and $160,000 next year, with the potential to reach over $200,000 if all goes well. The key to success is a good personality and hard work, which can take you much farther than a degree. However, the network I built during my 3 years in college was definitely valuable. Story 93. I work in a hotel as a supervisor and relief manager. I've been in this position for 2 years and earn about 70,000 Canadian dollars per year. Story 94. Vehicle vinyl wrap installation requires training and practice. Some individuals can learn more quickly than others. There are many opportunities available, as skilled installers are in high demand. You could easily earn 6 figures working for a local shop or eventually become an independent contractor. Story 95. Fabricator for a company that manufactures control panels. The job is unsatisfactory. There are no benefits and the pay is low. Story 96. I joined the United States Postal Service, which was the best decision I made. While many people were struggling financially during the pandemic, especially my high school class from 2018, I was able to buy my house with a favorable interest rate. I earned 25% above the median state income and just under the median national income as a single income. Story 97. I have a degree, but I don't use it. I am a high-pressure cylinder technician and work with large gas cylinders for medical, welding, industrial, and specialty purposes. I perform quality checks and produce dry ice. It is a lot of work, but I love my job, the pay is good, and I am constantly learning. Story 98. I am an art director specializing in commercials. I also work on movies, television shows, and live events. Occasionally, I take on production roles as well. Story 99. Software engineering. It's not that I didn't attend college. It's just that one course I thought was an elective wasn't, and I never bothered to correct it. Story 100. Tech sales is an excellent way to earn high income. Start as a sales development representative with a base salary of $55,000 to $65,000. Then progress to an account executive position with a base salary of $75,000 to $95,000. While the on-target earnings can sometimes be misleading, it's best to start at a large company like Salesforce to receive proper training. Story 101. Risk management specialist for a Tier 1 automotive supplier. I spent 6 years with Toyota, starting on the assembly line and working my way up into management. I applied what I learned there to secure my current position. I work from home and travel about 30% of the time, with a salary of $88,000. You can also gain valuable knowledge from online resources. If you are knowledgeable and present yourself well in interviews, most employers do not conduct extensive follow-ups. Story 102. I am a bartender who considered going back to school. However, I realized that most of my coworkers have degrees and still work as bartenders. Story 103. Senior network engineer and architect. I design high-end wide area network and local area network environments for large enterprise customers. Story 104. I am a supervisor for a call center. I earn a little under $60,000 a year. I work on-site 2 days a month and the rest from home. My office is a 10-minute drive away with rush hour traffic. Story 105. Exporting and selling online can be done through various platforms such as Amazon, eBay, and Mercado Libre. The more channels you have for merchandise availability, the more sales you can achieve. Story 106. I work in industrial maintenance. With a lot of overtime, I earn well over $100,000 a year, but I also live in the Bay Area, so your results may vary. Story 107. I have a master's degree in mental health counseling but experienced burnout while treating children and decided to leave the profession. I then pursued a doctorate in chiropractic and have been working in that field for 7 years. I love it, although I have substantial student debt. If I were starting over after graduating high school, I would likely choose a trade career. I treat many electricians, plumbers, and HVAC technicians who are quite successful. Story 108. I wish I had chosen a trade. I taught martial arts for 10 years and loved it. I moved to the country and now substitute teach while I finish my degree online and start a small homestead. Story 109. I tell my kids all the time that your body can make you millions, but your mind can make you billions. School can be challenging, and knowledge work may not always be enjoyable, but it is essential, which is why it pays well. If possible, pursue a good degree. If not, consider trades or resource extraction. If you want to continue your education but can't afford it, consider joining the military. Story 110. I started out in the United States Air Force as a boom operator on a KC-135A, which was considered the best enlisted job in the Air Force. After that, I became the general manager of a chain of record stores. I took some college courses with a Master of Business Administration in mind but realized it wasn't for me. Eventually, my wife, daughter, and I moved back to the Pacific Northwest, where she received a successful job offer. I looked for a job and found one that I had no prior skills for but was hired because I demonstrated responsibility. I started from the bottom and eventually ran the business for the owner. This job was somewhat specialized. I learned to calibrate and repair pressure and temperature instruments and transitioned into technical sales. I am now comfortably retired at 67. Story 111. I am a production coordinator at an engineering factory, essentially a manager. Previously, I worked as a machine operator running glass-blowing machines. Although I do not have formal qualifications, I possess extensive experience in competitive manufacturing. My education was primarily through homeschooling and unschooling during my childhood. Story 112. I am a revenue analyst for the federal government. I have a degree in information technology, but it was from a for-profit institution, so according to the government, I am considered to have only a high school education. However, I work at a graduate degree level. Story 113. I have done everything from mowing and landscaping to banking, bartending, and various sales roles. I work for a small technology company that is making significant strides in artificial intelligence. I am no longer in sales, but more of an account manager. I earn about $100,000, which is good pay based on the West Coast, while I live in the Midwest. Information technology sales can be engaging if you have the ability to connect closely with your customers. I once worked for a very large technology company and had some excellent clients. I even helped major universities build data centers for cancer research, which was very rewarding. Currently, I do not interact with customers except through email, and I have little say in the day-to-day operations, which leaves me feeling bored. I saw someone mention customer experience roles, which would be ideal. Depending on your personality, being the primary contact for large-scale clients could be great. I would stay in information technology if necessary, but at this point, ensuring that deliveries are made and that we have the proper length and quantity of network cables has lost its appeal. I consider going back to school to finish my bachelor's degree. There are some opportunities one would like to explore, but those roles do not simply let you in the door to figure things out. Story 114. I work in the marketing department of a large corporation. I started at a small advertising agency. My suggestions are to focus on obtaining certifications and gaining entry-level job experience. If you are comfortable working with computers, Google offers affordable certification options on Coursera. Story 115. I am currently a software engineering intern. Took me 1.5 years to learn everything I know, and it is still not guaranteed that I will be offered a job after this internship. Story 116. I have a degree, but if I didn't, I would totally be a career bartender. The pay is great and the job is enjoyable. Story 117. I was essentially born into being a chef. The pay is not the greatest, to be honest. However, I have managed to afford a small house, a car, and take care of my 5-year-old. Story 118. I am in sales and currently enrolled in a real estate school. I know many people do not have a favorable view of sales professionals, but it pays well, and if you can handle some challenges, you can thrive. I also work for DoorDash on the side as an additional source of income. Story 119. I have been working in fire protection since 2015. I started as a sprinkler technician and then transitioned to kitchen fire suppression. Currently, I manage my department at my company. Story 120. You should attend online courses. If you start today, in 6 months you could completely learn a career like digital marketing or web design. That would at least help you get your foot in the door as a junior developer, and then you can continue advancing. The smart move is that once you have been in the industry for 5 years, you create your own online channel and monetize it. Now you have a free education and 2 forms of income without debt. Story 121. I contract furniture building and repair for clients with significant resources. I began by purchasing old or broken furniture, refurbishing it, and selling it. I started advertising my services and gradually upgraded my clientele to the point where I now work for several high-profile individuals. Story 122. Automotive repair technician. While the pay is not high, the work is stable and provides health insurance for my daughters. Story 123. Firefighting is not for everyone, and it requires education through fire school and medical training. However, I get to help people witness experiences that few others will, and forge strong bonds with colleagues who would stand by each other in any situation. Initially, my salary was low, but after joining a reputable department, I now earn $80,000 with 2 years of experience, and it continues to increase. Story 124. I started out as an automotive technician, then transitioned to a diesel technician, and later became a service manager. I kind of want to go back to being a diesel technician. It's less stressful, and I only had to worry about myself. However, the money is good. Story 125. You don't need a degree to get into information technology, but it would definitely help. With the downturn in the technology job market, even computer science degree holders are applying for IT jobs, so the competition will be fierce. Take this with a grain of salt, as I have a degree and work in information technology. Story 126. I used to work a mind-numbingly boring administrative job. After 4.5 years, I realized I hated what I was doing. Now I am studying digital design and loving every moment. I will finish my bachelor's degree next year. Story 127. If you are not already enrolled, attend school to learn specific skills that are currently in demand in the modern economy. Acquire the education you need to reach your goals in life. Story 128. Account manager is a step up from a salesperson, and honestly, it is quite comfortable. My earnings are based on the purchases made by my accounts, so if I want to increase my income, I start researching and approaching new potential clients. If I choose not to pursue that, I simply process the orders sent to me, receive my payment, and go home. Story 129. How is no one suggesting sales? That is the best route. Once you face the fear of rejection, it has the potential to out-earn every job listed here. Story 130. Class of 2001 here. Life didn't get better until I earned my degree. It took a long time and illness and being forced to move back home for my priorities to be set straight. Story 131. Truck driver. It is a stressful but relatively easy job. You will never be unemployed, and you can go anywhere in the country or even around the world to drive a semi-truck. Story 132. Look into drafting. Specifically, learn to use Revit and AutoCAD 3D modeling software. The starting pay for a competent drafter is $50,000 to $60,000. With 3 to 4 years of experience, it could increase to $90,000 to $100,000. I am doing design work, engineering without a degree, and making $170,000. I work from home and have great benefits. This is the way. Story 133. I don't have a college degree in the United States. I attended college for music, specializing in jazz-based performance. I toured as a musician for a while, fell into a day job making beer, and absolutely fell in love with it. Now I have several certificates saying I know how to make beer, but no formal degree. We joke at work about how I'm the boss, but I'm technically the least educated. There are part-time bartenders who technically work for me who have degrees, and I'm like, yo, jazz bass goes EBBU bum 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 bum. Brewing is niche, it's difficult, and in craft beer, the pay generally isn't great. But if you enjoy working with your hands, it's rewarding. In major breweries, it's mostly a factory job. If I were to do it again, I would probably pursue heating, ventilation, and air conditioning or electrical work. I enjoy fixing things, and we aren't going to run out of buildings anytime soon. Plumbers, God bless you, but I have a weak stomach. One time, I had to use a shop vacuum to clear out a sump pump and put it down the other upstream so we could empty and fix the first one. I threw up several times. It's always tampons clogging things up. Story 134. A mechanic, who made a low six-figure income for a few years, has switched to the same job on an hourly basis doing restoration work. It is more rewarding and less stressful. Story 135. I work in an architect's office as an architectural technician. In the UK, there are currently 2 routes to qualification: experience-based or university education. Story 136. I am the chief executive officer of a towing company. I started working for this company 10 years ago, and it has very little turnover. I am now 33 years old and have worked my way through every position in the company until I took on the leadership role a little over a year ago. It is a challenging job with difficult hours, and you could find better pay elsewhere. But there is no business like the towing business. It is fun, rewarding, and demanding. My focus after becoming CEO is to improve pay, hours, and the overall work experience for my team. They played a significant role in shaping me into the person I am today. Story 137. Honestly, I have no direction. I only have my associate degree, so I am considering looking for a job. I'm 22. Story 138. Software engineer. I started creating websites for friends and small clients who were referred to me. Eventually, I secured a corporate job when I had some websites to showcase as a portfolio. If you have any interest in technology, you could build a highly successful career by learning artificial intelligence. There is low competition and high demand in this field. I don't personally work with it, but it should have a similar entry point to most technology stacks. Start with some basic courses on Google or even YouTube. Once you have some foundational knowledge, skills and advancements will come naturally as you explore personal projects. If you find yourself bored, then it may not be for you. However, if you enjoy it, you could have a rewarding hobby that can generate income and eventually evolve into a career if you desire. Story 139. Cybersecurity Security Operations Center Lead. I hold an associate degree, but it's mostly unrelated to my current field. I pursued certifications instead. Story 140. I have had the same experiences as those with degrees. I started at the bottom in a business and worked very hard. Now I earn over 6 figures. I outperform many of my coworkers who have degrees. For senior leadership roles, it seems a master's degree is often required, and I understand that. However, the belief that a degree is necessary for a white-collar job feels outdated to me. Education is important, and you can learn from mentors, networking events, YouTube, and online courses. However, a 4-year degree is not relevant for many jobs. Of course, I am not referring to doctors or lawyers, etc. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.